Hi guys, welcome back to Rachel Reads. My name is Rachel. I love to read and write Christian fiction, and today I'm doing my Bookish Buzzwords and tropes. So I don't know if y'all have seen, but Celestia and Lindsay recently did a few videos where they talked about some of their favorite Bookish Buzzwords or things that make them interested in books, and this was like a pretty big trend on Christian BookTube last year. So I thought I'll do it too and just jump on the second train that they're on and just talk about my favorite tropes or different things that interest me in books. The first one is more of a genre for sure, but like non-magical fantasy. If y'all have known, I've read a lot of non-magical fantasy this year so far. I have read the Ilion Chronicles, the Blades of Actar, and the first two books in the Chronicles of Illyria, which I love and could rant about those all day. Those are probably going to be some of my favorite books, but they're really good. I just like non-magical fantasy. It's like really different compared to normal fantasy. It's really just like a cozy genre, and I really just love everything about it. And I don't know, Christian non-magical fantasy just hits different. The next one is definitely more of a genre, I feel like, but that is like fairy tale retelling such that like whimsical fairy tale vibe. Obviously Melanie Sellier and Melanie Dickerson do this really well. Personally, I like Melanie Sellier a lot. Her fairy tale retellings are amazing. The next one is YA, and I put a period beside it just because it's YA. If you say Christian YA, I more than likely will want to read it. The next one is like lifestyle, like just daily living books. And I feel like another genre that could fit in here is like when they describe like what they're wearing, just like day-to-day things. Someone who does this really well is Erin Mangum. If y'all have read any of her books, they're so good. A lot of her contemporary books just feel like very like lifestyle, day-to-day, and they're amazing. They're some of my favorite books ever. If you've never read Erin Mangum, you definitely need to. I just really love Erin Mangum's Christian fiction. The next one is kind of like that family, friends, like just a good group of friends or family. I like when there's a good cast of characters. For contemporary, Erin Mangum again does this well, but I really feel like the Lauren Hulbert series, but her friend group's just really big and you focus on them a lot and follow them a lot. Another one that is not contemporary, the Ilion Chronicles by J.L. Knight. There is an enormous cast of characters. The next one I have is like the beach or the coast. I know I call it the beach. It really depends on where you're from, I guess. But anything that has to do with like the ocean, salt water, that sort of thing, I absolutely love. This is book 2 in the series, but it's my favorite book because the romance is just better, and it does have a bit more romance content, but it's still clean, still good. But this is The Crushing Depths by Danny Petrie. This entire trilogy, I don't know about the novella, but I know this trilogy is set on the coast or the ocean, the beach. And it has a lot to do with that, which I love seeing. Another one I would have to say is like when the weather is like extremely cold, like Alaska, Antarctica, anything like that, a blizzard. It's just interesting to read about. Another Danny Petrie. This is book 5. Book 4 is my favorite. Book 4 in this series, The Alaskan Courage, is the best. But this one's book 5. This one definitely is like a cold setting, so it's just intriguing to read about like freezing cold weather as long as I'm not in that situation. The next one I know is something Lindsay will love, but that is like, if it has to do with like dogs, I think specifically dogs. I'm okay with other animals, but dogs are just great when they're in books. Off the Chain by Janice Thompson. I really want to read book 5, but I'm trying to read the series chronologically. But this is book 1. I love this book a lot. It's just a cozy mystery. There is a King Charles Cavalier. It's a spaniel of some sort. But yeah, I just love it. It's so cute and so precious, and it's beautiful. I love it. Great book, and it has to do with dogs. The next is like that dystopian fantasy. Obviously, I have a literal shelf of dystopian fantasy. My favorites, Nadine Brandes. For this, I am going to pick The Wonderland Trials by Sarah Ella, just because this is dystopian and fantasy, so I think it counts for both. But if it's dystopian or if it's just fantasy, I love it. I think they're amazing, but this one's just both. That's why I picked it. The next trope is like epistolary. I think that's how you say it. It's when a novel is told in letters, emails, when it's not, I guess, like directly told, but it's told through letters, emails, texts. Authentically Izzy by Pepper Basham, as well as Dear Mr. Knightley by Catherine Rie. This one is told in like emails and text, and then that one is told in letters. But I love both of them just because the format is so different but so fun. The next one is when it has to do with like ballet, classical music, piano, anything that has to do with that, I'm automatically in love. And if you couldn't guess, I'm going to talk about A Midnight Dance by Joanna Davidson Politano. This is one of my favorite books ever. I love it. This has to do with ballet, but then like there's some musical references. The sequel, The Lost Melody, also has a lot of musical references, which is just amazing. The next one is like when there's riddles or clues, just like a guessing game or something like not super specific to the world, but something that like I could guess, but at the same time like also kind of hard. If it has to do with that, I automatically love it. Now for more like tropes, enemies to lovers. Need I say more? When I say enemies to lovers, I don't mean like they hate each other. I just mean they're on like opposite sides of a particular topic, but then like everything works out fine. Political enemies to lovers, like when they're maybe on the same side but just disagree, or he's sarcastic. When he's sarcastic, that is hilarious. I am dying of laughter. There's this scene I'm thinking of in one of the Page Alder books. That scene always makes me laugh. A good example of enemies to lovers is Romanov. They're quite literally enemies in one instance, but then they're really not. But it's still good for so many reasons. So it's like best friends or childhood friends to more. I already mentioned it, but The Crushing Depth by Danny Pedri has that trope in my heart. I love Rissy and Mason. They are amazing characters, and it has that childhood friends to more. I love it so much. Another one is if it just has to do with like books, library, publishing, writing, reading, like This Story People by Heather Kaufman. I absolutely love this book. Was one of my favorites of last year, and it's like there's a bookstore, it's set around that. The girl is like an author. Of course I love it. It's books. The next two are just about like the faith content. When the faith content is like Chef's Kiss or the allegory is amazing, I love that. Ilion Chronicles by J.O. Knight, The Chronicles of Alira, Aaron Mangum. And I just love when the faith content matches or surpasses the other tropes. It's just so much fun. The next four are just authors that like if they publish a book, I will read it. But that is Nadine Brandes, Joanna Davidson Politano, Aaron Mangum, and Danny Pedri. The next one is like the corrupt government. They're on the run. They're accused of something. I feel like Amnesia could probably fit into there, but like anything like that is so much fun. The next one is like academic books or like boarding school, but there's more going on. In the Christian market, we typically see that in like fantasy or dystopians. One would probably be Ariadne and the Legend of the Fire Rose by Christy Ecole. This is set at like a school, but there's more going on. And the last one for today, there could be more, but the last one is like when there's like florals on the cover or flowers talked about, a southern story, or if the book just has like a good description setting, especially southern or floral, but if it has just like a good description of where it's at, great book. That's all for the tropes and buzzwords. Now I'm going to talk about what I'm reading really quick. So currently I'm reading Anne of Green Gables. This is my first time reading it, and I'm really excited. So far I've loved it. Anne can be hilarious and sarcastic, but it's still just so good. And in my Bible, I am almost done reading through it for a year. I just finished Colossians today, and so for today it was really about just, you know, walking in the Spirit, how Christians should live, which is very important because Ephesians and Colossians and a lot of other books talk about it, how we should walk in the Spirit and deny our flesh, to just take up our cross and follow Jesus and what he calls us to do, which is very important in our lives. So that is all I have been reading. So that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope God bless you today, and remember, I do my very best to post Tuesdays at 12:30, and I'll see you next time. Bye.